Welcome to Hermit Woods, where there's a story in every bottle.
Oh, hey.
We're here?
We are live.
Yep.
Oh,
We're live.
Why can't we see? Hold on.
Hello, everybody.
There we go.
Live.
I'm cutting out Bob.
We
Sorry,
are
Bob.
drinking here together. Bob has magically changed into Travis. And Chuck isn't here. Chuck is on his way, soon flying all the way across the Pacific Ocean to Tokyo.
Ooh.
Wow.
Never had a gig like that before.
That's a
and
long-
he's going to start
long
the process.
We do
But,
have Bob joining us
great.
remotely. I can show him. There he is. Hi, Bob. Can we hear you, Bob? Let's see.
Hi. Yeah, can you hear me?
There? Oh,
Yeah.
he's driving.
He's driving. I can't hear him.
Driving. You can't hear me?
I can read
I
his lips a
can't
little
hear
bit. Yeah,
Maybe the world can hear him.
it's possible. Let's
Hold
see.
on. I'll
Maybe
see if
not.
I can fix that.
I don't know how to.
Technical component
Yeah,
here.
it's difficult
everybody.
to have it being
Trying to
here
make
without.
this all work.
I don't know.
Hopefully
Oh,
they
well.
can hear us.
I think they can hear us at least. So Bob
Just
can
watch
listen.
the road, Bob.
Yeah, watch
Watch
the
the road.
road.
Looks like he's on the highway, cruising
Yeah.
along.
I'll put it back to us.
Looks nice and sunny there.
It does.
Background. That's good. So, why are we here today with you, Travis? Tell us about what's going on, because I see all of this great-looking food in front of us.
So we're here today because, as you know, Hermit Woods has been trying to take steps to go farm to table and source our menu seasonally and do things seasonally correct. So this is our summer menu, or pieces of our summer menu that are different that haven't been on the menu before.
Awesome.
So these are items that are new.
Yeah.
And truth be told, we all got to try these last night.
Yes, we
The
introduced it
the
to staff last night.
And my wife Maya and Travis cooked up all this fantastic food with Stephanie, and we all got to try this. And it's fantastic stuff. So this is a teaser for everybody out there because they can't try this food
Right.
without coming in to the establishment. Is this menu on live now?
It will be live tomorrow.
Yep.
Live tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all set. It's all ready to go. We just got to get the menus printed.
Excellent.
Yep.
So if something sounds good, looks good, we'll know where to come to get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So
what
I guess
should we start with?
before we start, we should
Oh,
do the
okay.
usual. Welcome to everybody. Glad to have everyone. Our usuals are here. Gary and Lynn and Christine and Janice, all our usuals, some extras as well. Glad to have people on. If you like this broadcast, please officially like this broadcast. There's a button down below Ken
Down
somewhere that you can click to like and subscribe to both either the YouTube or the Facebook channel. That way you could get notifications when we do go live. And invite your friends, share around.
Right. Yeah, it's been good having all of you as a core out there watching us, and we have a whole bunch of people who end up coming into the shop and saying, "Oh, I shot some broadcast." They don't make themselves known necessarily, but they watch the show, or they watch the show at a later time, or follow the link on the website afterwards.
Yeah, so we love our oil files. So before we eat, what are we drinking today? So I said I heard already from the audience that
Oh yeah, what's everybody in the audience?
I know somebody, where was it? Oh yeah, Janice is drinking a glass of Winnie Rosé, which is what Travis and I are both enjoying as well. It was sparkling rosé, but it's a can that was opened yesterday, so it is no longer sparkling. But it's still rosé.
Right?
And figure that's one of the most universal pairings we've got. So we had a lot of fun last night pairing these new food items and finding some of the more specific pairings. But I figured this is gonna.
And rosé would go. It's one of those wines that does really well with these foods. Some of the other ones are a little more difficult to pair up. The rosé does really well. I have a pet nap made by an enthusiastic home winemaker. Been an enthusiast of Hermit Woods, and he and his wife are thinking about starting their own winery in Newmarket, down by the seacoast. And so we brought a bunch of wines to share. And this is a pet nap, so it's a carbonated wine made from grapes and peaches. That's the wine. I thought it might go well with food.
Yeah. Nice.
So what should we start with? And tell us a bit about it.
So we should probably start with crostinis and make our way around
Okay.
this way. So we can all start with the shrimp bruschetta crostini. I know we tried this yesterday, but so it is built like a traditional bruschetta with onions and garlic and tomatoes and basil and a balsamic reduction, but I took a spin on it and added shrimp.
Nice.
Yeah.
Rika, can you hear me?
Thank you. Yum. I love these. The little crostini things. I feel like last summer we started doing those a couple summers
Can
ago.
you see if you can pull the broadcast
specials,
up on your
interesting
Facebook
little
page?
crostini bites, and I think they've been one of my favorite
Hermit Woods
things.
Facebook
Yeah,
page.
I mean,
They're just-
it goes with kind of it goes with the flight. So you get a crostini because you're trying different things. You know, we have a rosé flight that probably goes really well with this because you can try different. There's 3 different rosés there, and this probably pairs with 2 out of 3 of them. So it's light. The rosés are light.
Go to the
Makes
Hermit
sense.
Woods Facebook.
So how did you come up with the
says Hermit's not.
I mean, I love what it adds to it, but I've never heard of a shrimp crostini before.
So when me and Steph were talking, because Steph's obviously been here a long time, a long time in the kitchen, so she had talked about how we've only kind of done like salmon or smoked salmon. So
Make a
and
comment.
obviously we're in New
that
England,
the
where
shutter-
Boston Harbor is a huge harbor for
The
fish.
the lens cover
So-
on the camera
And
is
a lot of people who come from this
obscuring
area want
the view.
seafood. You know, a lot of the seafood places are very busy because of seafood. So I figured adding seafood and adding something other than a
Marika,
smoked salmon.
comma.
I mean, we did
the
smoked salmon in
lens
the winter,
cover on the
and it
camera
did really well.
is
So
a little bit
adding
closed
shrimp
and
in the summer made
partially
sense.
covering
to
the
me.
left side of the
It's not
screen.
like it's, prominently shrimp.
Yeah.
It adds this richness, this umami that you don't get with a regular crostini of just the tomatoes and onions and the
Right.
rest of it.
Yeah.
This adds that really unique twist.
Something more.
Yeah, something more.
Yeah, I think of salmon as being much more of a wintry type of fish somehow, but shrimp is definitely it's lighter, summery.
Great.
So it sounds like I think the audience actually can hear Bob. We couldn't hear him, but it sounds like the audience can. So if Bob wants to pipe in, we probably won't hear him, but. And
That'll be fun to try to coordinate that.
Hi, audience.
yes, and the other thing I want to
hear
mention,
him. he's certainly
we're
not going to type his question.
Priscilla has joined us too as well as usual, a little late, but it is her birthday. So
Oh,
cheers and happy
cheers.
birthday to Priscilla. Welcome. And I have the note, yes, I saw someone mention the lens cap, I think, is covering the camera a little bit. I thought it was just that we didn't get around to setting up the second light, but I think it is the lens cap, and I'm going to try and fix that.
Really?
So carry on.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. I didn't know there was a lens cap.
I think that might be it. I can see that there's a little shadow over on the
If you
side.
might imagine that we scrambled to get this all together properly. We did a great job trying to set things up. I was kind of lax on the lighting format. I only set up one light because we were running out of time. And,
Oh, yeah, that's much
That's
better.
what we did. Sorry, Bob.
Yeah,
There you go.
that looks much better.
Is
Excellent.
that better?
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, I love these little, these small bites. I think are fun. I think it's good to have that mix of things on the menu. We do get people coming in that are looking for lunch. You know, maybe they're taking a sandwich to go or just sitting down for a real
Sure.
full meal. But we also have people that are just one little bite. You know, some
Yeah.
charcuterie or something to go with the wines. And I like
Moose.
this and things that are shareable too,
Mhm.
which we love.
All right.
Yum.
And we can do
All right.
the second one, which is a blueberry and brie crostini. So it's a blueberry compote made with marrow.
Which is magical. I love the way you put this together.
It's marrow blueberries reduced down with Petit Blue Reserve, balsamic, and just cooked in its own juices. So
That's it.
that's it.
Wow.
And basil.
Because it's
And
got
basil.
so
A little bit of
many
basil.
different sort of spicy herbal notes to it. When Maya and I were trying it last night, we thought, oh, I wonder what he's putting in there. Is it coriander or clove or allspice or something like that? But it's just really clean, and that's awesome.
This is one thing I'm most excited about. I think. Just very good classic concoction. I think.
Now, last night I didn't have the brie with it. Oh, there's a difference.
Yep.
This is less of a breakfast that I thought I was having last night, which I really enjoyed.
hmm
This makes that brie really richens out that mid-palate comfort. I bet this is great with a bottle of Petit Bleu, classic Petit Bleu.
Yep.
I know people drink classics. I drink
I love fruit and brie is just such a great combo. Do you remember the brie panini that we had 2-3 years ago? It was the brie and apple panini.
Oh, brie and
I think we
apple.
did it just
Yeah,
on
that
a
was
peasant
great.
bread, and it was brie and thin slices of some sort of apple, and then we would make a Petit Bleu caramel by cooking down the Petit Bleu.
That was Davida, right? That did that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It was still on the menu when I started, and she had left by then, but we had the recipe for that caramel, and it was good. It got very sticky on the panini press when it would leak out, and it was hard to make.
Clean.
I think that was one that Nate gave me the recipe, and I never had to make it when I was running the kitchen, thankfully, which I was a little intimidated by. But this is that same sort of like lovely fruit and
So I don't
combo
do
that just
a lot
works
of
so well.
cooking, but I love good food. Fortunately, I'm set. But when you go through this process to create this blueberry reduction, you make it sound pretty simple. Well, I did this, I did that, and out it comes, and look at that. Nice. Do you have like lots of different trials? Do you go through down a path and you go, no, that's not working. I better start over and go down a different path. How do you?
Yeah,
how do you get to a
there's
place like this?
there's definitely trial and error on some things. I mean, there's flavor profiles that go together and that it's known they go together. So kind of stick with that, but then here I like to push it outside the box and I like to go past that. Or, there's good flavor profiles, but then you can add something that's a little different that makes it different instead of it just being that same.
So
kind of
regular
one-
crostini, and now you add that shrimp.
Yeah.
That's true. I feel like if you went to any Italian restaurant, they probably have bruschetta on the menu as an appetizer. But doing that, even just one little thing different or a different presentation or something like that just makes it, something so you can know that the flavors are still going to work, but it's just something that's a little bit outside the box, which is really fun.
It must be fun. Try those things.
Sometimes.
I know it's a lot of
It's
work.
good
I
when
mean, I
good when it
have,
works.
I have a whole bunch of tomato wine downstairs that quite frankly is not something to drink as wine. I need to figure out what to do with it. So sometimes things don't go exactly the way you want them to go. I get that.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm going through and trying to find out new menu items or thinking about new things that we can do, you know, me and Steph put our heads together and we'll run things as specials first, or we'll try them out. And, you know, we trial things on a day, and then, you know, you try it on, say, a Wednesday, and by the weekend it's changed because we try it out and you're like, oh, okay, that doesn't work so much. Try something else. And we try it again, and then it works out. So it's all about just like trial and error, but like it's not like a huge error where it's like, okay, scrap the whole thing. It's like, okay, well, maybe we could do this a little different.
I see. So this is good, but I'm thinking maybe I can make it a little better if I add this. Or
Yes,
I
yeah.
change that. So
Yeah.
you're focusing in on something that's going to be perfect, but along the way, everything is okay. It's fine. You're just thinking of how to do it.
Yeah, better. Yep.
Same thing I do with Petit Blue.
Well, it's been fun with this menu. I think we do this usually, but you know, you had run some things specials, or you had been playing around in the kitchen, figuring some of these things out, and you would try some things, and then we're pretty confident. I think you're pretty confident in what you had come up with, and so right before Bob headed out on vacation, we did a little tasting last Sunday with Bob and Geraldine, and so we got some feedback from them on, and yeah, I think it was sort of like last night. For the most part, this is great. This is great. But what if we did this? What if
Right.
we take, you know, a little bit less cheese, or maybe we toast it instead of this, or have you tried this other bread? And so you tweak a little bit, and then last night we did it again and went through and thought, oh, maybe a little tweak. And so even today they're a little bit different than last night, and maybe after tonight it'll be a tiny bit different from what people get. So by the time you all get it, it'll be
Keeps
spot
getting better.
on.
That's the goal.
It's the goal.
Matt says that you should save that tomato wine, Ken. It might be good for a trade.
All right, Matt, don't worry. There's plenty of it. I'm trying to figure out what to do with them.
Usually figure out something.
All right, so then the last crostini is a creme fraiche and strawberry crostini, which is a little different from last night based off of feedback. See?
So what did you do differently?
So what I did differently is yesterday I used a lot of I made like a strawberry almost sauce for the crostini, and then put a strawberry on top. This time I put creme fraiche, then the strawberry, and then the sauce.
I've already taken a bite out of this, but I'm gonna try and we're gonna switch to my camera if I can. Let's see. Yes. So I'm gonna hold it up to the camera there so folks can see it.
Gonna drip onto the keyboard.
It's not gonna drip onto the keyboard. Yeah, the colors aren't nearly as bright, but it's fun because it's such a bright,
It's beautiful. Yeah, I love the
bright, colorful
layout.
thing. And all right, Travis. So with the two fruit ones, these are presented together. So that's a little bit different, or just even more color in one.
Fruit crostini platter,
Yes,
and you get both types.
you get both types. You get 4 of each.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, this one's
That
it's
might go with
sweet.
strawberry rhubarb.
That would probably work.
Now, where are you getting your strawberries from?
From you? I'm getting the strawberries for the sauce was from the strawberries you get from wine.
Okay.
And then the other strawberries I'm getting are from Black River at the moment, but when they start growing closer, it'll be from right down the street.
Yeah, the strawberries I got last year were from New Hampshire farm in the southern part of the state. Sometimes they come from Vermont, sometimes from Massachusetts. And Black River off season, or early season, will go out to California maybe to bring over organic strawberries. But I love the local strawberries from their picture, right? And they do really well to be frozen and hold over.
Yeah.
So these are last year's strawberries.
Yes.
In the sauce on top.
In the sauce.
In the sauce.
Yep.
Like Black River fresh ones.
I like that change you made, having just the plain creme fraiche on the bottom. makes it a little bit less. It counters the sweetness a little bit, and it's still not as savory, Christina, but it walks back the sweetness just a little bit, which is nice.
I
You get
almost want a
nice-
piece of French toast instead of
I would do some breakfast here, maybe.
maybe some of your hand tossed up.
Mhm.
Throw some cinnamon and sugar in it.
We have found we've realized that
Fried
we
dough,
can go.
Fried dough, there you go.
We can go different directions a little bit with the way things are evolving here at Hermit Woods. That some menu items that maybe wouldn't have worked before can work, like a sweeter thing that is thought of more like dessert.
Mhm.
You know, if people are coming in here for lunch, it doesn't really make sense. But when we have music events, when people are here at 8
I
o'clock
love this
at night,
idea, the whole dessert menu,
I
the
think
dessert plate.
we have some things like I think the crostini or that flatbread.
Yep.
I call it the flatbread.
So, so there's a white chocolate, what is it? White chocolate banana flatbread that has strawberries and chocolate, and it is and goat cheese, and it is kind of a sweeter dessert kind of style thing. We ran it as a special. I don't know.
We've tried it a couple of times over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
I think it's actually one that Deborah came up with
Mhm.
Okay.
for a new menu, I think 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And we put it on the menu or we ran it as a special, and it didn't get ordered. We all tried it. It was delicious.
Yeah,
it was
it
beautiful.
seems it's like one of those weird things. You
It
might
just-
just
I
come up
think
with
it-
a name.
I think it just
This
wasn't
is really good.
what
Right.
people were looking for at that time.
Yeah, because we've changed as we do the lunch crowd, but now we're moving into the music nights that are gonna have people here later than 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So they're gonna want that next level of thing, a dessert, something to end their meal on.
Mhm.
So white chocolate, banana bread, flatbread. That and initially when Steph had told me about it, I was in the same boat as everyone else. I was like, huh? But then we ran as a special and it went really well on a piano night. People got it, and I was like, okay, well, I guess this is something.
Yeah. That'll
So
be fun. It must be fun too, because that opens up a whole other avenue for you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm gonna make food on these lines.
That's another one that it uses one of the Waz spreads, but one of their sweet ones. And so we use the balsamic fig and the Thai hot pepper a little more often. Those are the savory types, but this is it's the white chocolate banana bread
yeah,
spread. It's
dessert
so
spread.
thick and sweet and just decadent. That you do kind of want to just take a spoon to it, but it's also good. I like dipping pretzels in that one. It's got, like salty sweet. It's so good.
All right, what's next?
All right, so next
Now we're getting
is the
Solid stuff.
not your everyday ham sandwich, which is ciabatta bread, toasted with Swiss cheese, ham, everyday mustard, and arugula. So this is another one we ran as a special for the first week, and it sold like 8 or 9. And we're like, okay, well, let's try it again. Ran it for 2 weeks straight, and it just kept getting ordered. And we're like, okay, well, this just makes sense. So, and it uses ciabatta bread that we never really used before, other than for crostinis and for really crostinis
Great
French
bread,
onions.
man.
and French onion soup. So we figured if we get it in, we might as well use it as a sandwich.
Right.
So
It does make a good sandwich bread, but it's tough because I think it is thick enough that you can't put just any sort of sandwich on it. You do need to think about it, make sure you have enough
Yeah, you have to have that.
You have to have
right
the
balance
condiment
to
and
get through
enough
that
stuff.
yeah.
strong bread.
Yep.
So we did use these ciabatta breads as the bun for the bratwurst when we do it on pond hockey and
Mhm.
fish and derby. But other than that, it was crostinis and French onion soup. So now it's a sandwich. Now we
Very
use
good.
it as a sandwich.
Yeah, this would make a nice lunch. One of these sandwiches for sure.
Yeah. It's a great combo.
Now, why'd you call it not everyday ham sandwich when you use everyday mustard on it?
Because you can get a ham sandwich that has mustard on, and you can make your own ham sandwich every day like this. But we use Waz that's every day, and not everyone has it. So
I guess it goes back to a little out of the box. It is the everyday cafe mustard from Blackwater,
Right.
but I think even that cafe is not an everyday cafe. It's actually a really excellent cafe if you're ever in the Kentucky area. And this is the sort of signature mustard that he's made for that cafe. But it's not just a ham
great
sandwich. It's
Yeah.
not your everyday sandwich.
And the name just evokes the question, why do you call it that?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about conversation and food.
Mm-hmm.
But one you can pronounce. We had trouble, last year we had
Speaking
the,
with your mouth full while we're chewing,
Soups.
that's always good.
right.
I like
We've had,
that. Then you know it's good.
The maybe well known to our audience. We had that sloppy pig panini for such a while,
Mm.
which was a delicious panini, but it's hard to say. People would be very confused.
People wouldn't want to say sloppy pig.
Salpai, the
Yeah,
slow
there was a
panini,
dash.
the-
There was a whole bunch of things that people were kind of like
confused.
obscure and didn't want to say it.
That sounds
So-
too messy.
Right.
Sloppy pig.
Yeah.
You know, evokes.
It was
Mud
actually, it was a
pit or
very
something.
messy sandwich. It was messy to make and messy to eat,
Yep.
but
So
a good one. But it's sort of thinking about when you're putting together a menu, thinking about all the parts that go
So
into
sloppy
it.
pig
Where you're,
gone.
yes,
and replaced by this ham sandwich and keeping the Cuban on from the winter menu and rolling it into the summer menu.
I like that Cuban sandwich too.
So
that one's been really popular.
That's a really good sandwich.
Hmm. And again, I think it's one of those things that people know what a Cuban is, so they're like, oh yeah, I like a Cuban. It's not as much of a common sandwich as some others, but it's definitely a sandwich that people know. But we've definitely sort of put our own spin on it by using fancy, like different prosciutto and ham and
Yep.
just slightly different ingredients to make it our own.
So you're making this food all day long at Hermit Woods. What do you do when you go home? Open up a can of Campbell's soup?
no,
What's your-
no. My wife actually cooks at home.
Awesome.
Really, she does all the cooking at home. I mean, I help out and I do, I do
Sort of
Christmas.
sous chefing and keep
Kind
the
of,
wine
yeah,
glass full
I do the holidays. So I do Thanksgiving and I do Christmas. I do New Year's. So we do like a prime rib on New Year's. I do the whole turkey and have all the bit. When I first met my wife, I wasn't really into cooking, so she would do all of Thanksgiving. And as obviously the years have gone by, this last year, she used to still do it until a couple of years ago. And then this year I was like, all right, you just relax and I'll do it. I mean, I love cooking, so I don't mind. I just get into the turkey. But no,
But on the
she
day-to-day process,
day-to-day, it's all
she
her.
likes cooking
It's all her. Yep. She likes cooking.
Awesome.
Yep.
I was interested in those sorts of like that aspect of various people's relationships, and I think it's sometimes it's clear like who would be the cook, but sometimes it's not, and it's interesting seeing like how people.
How about you,
Divide that.
Steve? What's the?
I do most of it.
You do most of the
I
cooking?
do most of the cooking and the grocery shopping and meal planning and such. Well, I guess we meal plan together, but I do most of the cooking. There are certain dishes that we make a lot that are his. Like he likes making paella, which is a pretty involved
Oh yeah.
one. So that's a Steve dish, and he does tend to do a little more when we do the smoking and the grilling.
Mhm.
He's more into the smoker, whereas I do more like I don't know casseroles and home cooking, like comfort food type stuff. So we do it together. That's tasty. But yeah, I think we have a meal plan for tonight, but I don't know if I'll probably go home and cook and only eat it a little bit because I've got dinner
Oh, I know.
here.
This is when I was talking to Maya. She said, "What's going on for Facebook Live?" I said, "Well, we get to have all this food again." She goes, "Okay, I'll get my dinner on my own."
Yep.
Great.
All right. So the next thing is a roast beef wrap. So this is roast beef, feta, garlic aioli, lettuce, tomato. So we had on the menu when I originally got here, we had the roast beef spanakopita, which was a great sandwich.
Oh, I like that one a lot.
Which was a great sandwich, and all the components are almost here.
Yeah.
But the reason I did this is because you're going into hotter weather.
Right.
And from a kitchen standpoint, we had two wraps before. We had the cranberry turkey wrap, and we had just a vegetarian wrap. So I took the roast beef spanakopita, kind of kept a few things of the
But
same,
no longer using a hot grill.
right, and making it a wrap. So
That's a good
And now you get
balance.
the fresh, the tomato and the
Yep.
greens and all that. So
So what is on this? What have we got?
So this is roast beef, feta, garlic aioli, tomato, and mixed greens or mesclun mix.
I love the aioli is probably one of my favorite things. I always want extra, triple, double aioli.
It's a great combination.
Very good. All right.
Now, the tomatoes must change as you come out of the spring into the summer, getting more local.
Yes. So these ones are again from Black River because obviously the farms haven't kicked up.
Is there some greenhouse?
There are.
Growers
So
around?
there's a greenhouse grower in Maine, which is actually where these ones come from.
Mm-hmm.
These tomatoes come from. But then within the next month, Picnic Rock will kick up and
Right.
Beans and Greens will kick up and then right to the local farms.
Right. Perfect.
And then we'll get to do the infamous Bob's tomato. We can't do Bob's tomato with Maine tomatoes. Which is not right.
Nope.
It's not quite right.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it
Nope.
takes that sun-ripened, warm tomato, nice
Fresh
cut.
and juicy. Lynn says, back to the sort of who cooks question. Lynn says, we both cook, but no one wants to decide what we'll cook. But they know they have the right wine for whatever they decide on.
I could see
This
that.
one's-
Matt and Lynn, I'd like to see their kitchen in action.
Mm-hmm.
That was so much fun when they came up here and made those crepes
That
and
was great.
everything.
I love this particular spring mix. I think this is the one from Black River. It's so crunchy.
This is Little Leaf.
Oh, it's the Little Leaf Farm stuff.
Yep.
I think, the Massachusetts
That
based,
Little
right?
Leaf is Chuck's favorite. So Bob and I will go over to Chuck's house for dinner and he'll make the salad. He literally takes his hand, grabs a box of the Little Leaf, puts it on your plate.
There's salad.
And he's just eating it straight. This stuff's like crack. I love it. It's like candy.
Yeah,
And he
it's
just
just-
powers through the greens.
Those, such a good crunch and like
I feel like an iguana eating those greens, crunchy greens.
or what's the word? Body. That's the word I needed. We had one of the things that we do actually last night that we are doing today is a new vegan wrap that had, I don't know, the texture of that was really good. It had I forget all the different veggies that you throw on that, Travis. I know it has these greens.
It's zucchini, summer squash, carrots, red onions, cucumber, and that's it.
And no
And hummus.
mozzarella.
And no mozzarella. No, I don't think it needs it. Keeps-
That was that
Keeps
was
it
one of
vegan.
the changes that we made. I think
I
after
like it
Bob's
without
tasting.
mozzarella myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to have a vegan option. I think maybe we just didn't have enough veggies, but we'd had the hummus wrap before, and that was sort of
Mhm.
was the go-to sort of vegetarian, and it could be made vegan by taking off the mozzarella. But I remember whenever I was at the deli cooking it, if somebody wanted it without mozzarella, I had a hard time making it full enough
Mhm.
without the cheese.
Mhm.
So this is,
Right.
I don't know, getting all those different veggies, and there's such a good mix of textures. Yeah, this is good. Mm.
I think we paired this with the Red Scare last night.
Mhm.
Good. And the elderberry. Didn't you try the
I
elderberry?
just tried with
this?
elderberry. I think that worked as well. I think I ended up putting Red Scare on for the menu because we like to put a suggested pairing
I
on,
had,
and
I had some cranberry cider, and the tanginess of the feta
Ooh.
cheese went really well with cranberry cider.
Mhm.
So that was a good combination.
But I try and spread things out and try and do different wines throughout the whole menu. So let me find one that works.
Right.
Because if we didn't do that, it'd be rosé on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it would.
Mhm.
It's a baby. You can't go wrong with that wine.
Yeah, so I'm trying to
with
think
all
what
these foods.
we did end up coming up with last night. So there's going to be a sausage vegetable soup. And that one I tried with Lake House Red and enjoyed that. I think
Oh, how was that?
that worked. That was nice.
So is that soup going to be on the menu as well?
hmm
So describe the soup, so everybody, but since we don't have the soup here, but you don't want to miss out on the soup because it's really fantastic stuff.
So the soup is it's all of like summerish vegetables. It's kind of the same as the wrap, except for in soup, really. So it's zucchini, summer squash, onion, celery, carrots, and a harpoon infused beer bratwurst
Oh, yeah.
sausage.
Yeah.
So that's I put that all in a pot with olive oil, kind of get it all sautéed up, and then it's a veggie base or a veggie broth. So
Yeah.
keeps it light, keeps it like a lot of things in summer, you're already hot enough. You don't need to be
Right.
packing on other stuff. So.
Didn't we have a cold soup here at one point?
A gazpacho?
There was a gazpacho.
A watermelon gazpacho.
Yes.
You guys
Oh,
remember?
yeah, I remember that.
No, it was last year.
Was it last
Yeah.
Even
year?
just last year we had that watermelon gazpacho. There was, when I first started, I remember Nate making like a petite blue, like a blueberry soup.
Oh, that's right. There was
That
a
I had
blueberry
once or
soup
twice.
as well. That was
Yeah.
nice.
And yeah, that watermelon gazpacho last year, that was interesting.
That's great.
Different
It's
stuff.
fun. You know,
Yeah.
the menus change and evolve, and it keeps it fun for you, I'm sure, and for everybody who comes in here. There's something new to try.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the things that when I look through reviews and look through how people are enjoying food and things, it's, people comment on our menu of not being the same old, because it's not. It's, there's things that may be kind of what maybe run of the mill, but they're not because they're different. There's changed up. I cook I cook a lot with the wine because we're a winery. I try to add wine into a lot of the stuff. It's here. Why not put it in it?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
So yeah, sure. I don't think we've got. Lake House White and French onion soup.
Mm-hmm.
There's our dressings are always made with the wines.
Yep.
I ran out of drink. That's no good.
What else? Yeah. But even throwing a little bit in with stuff makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes it obvious what you should pair with it, I suppose, too. And
it kind of does. It makes it obvious sometimes, depending on
There's some cider.
What it adds to it. So when we add, when I did the salmon chowder this winter, I added Lake House White, but Lake House White didn't go with it because I added lemon juice, which made it so that it changed it. So there's things, with wine pairings, it's either you use it in the food and it combines and it makes sense. You use it in your dish and then it combats it and it makes it so it doesn't want to work with it because the flavor profile of what you've added into the thing, even though you've added that wine, it doesn't always work. It's always about trying and figuring out what works. And then there's a clash where that wine and that food don't work. So
yeah, that could happen for sure.
So I had another question I was going to ask.
What's that?
I'm still thinking about some of the pairings we came up with last night. I don't know. It gets dizzying sometimes when we're trying. We tried, 6 to 8 different things last night. So we try a whole bunch of things, and eventually you're like, yeah, that works.
Do you find yourself in a different place? You're out shopping or playing with the kids or taking a walk or whatever, and you come up with an idea about certain food. Do you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's.
I mean, I'll be asleep and I wake up like, oh, I should do this, or I'm taking a walk. I'm like, oh, I gotta try that.
I don't wake up yet, but yeah, no, I definitely. I mean, social media is a huge thing. So you'll be going through, Instagram or Facebook or different things, and you see something, and you're like, what is this? And
Oh, that's cool. So that's a source for you for
it's
inspiration, for ideas.
I follow a lot of chefs that I came here and I talked about Michelin star, and that's what I thrive for.
I'm still waiting to see that sugar balloon.
Not happening. But it's that you look at chefs and you see what everyone's doing in the world, and then you evolve yourself to what you want to be. But there's people doing things that are amazing out in the world, and how do you get to that? I'm 30 years old. I still got a long way to go. But it's about taking things that are out in the world and then making it your own, or making it you, or making it what you're doing at that time.
Yeah, the creative process is a fascinating thing. Food or wine are similar. We're starting with raw ingredients and we're coming up with a concept, with a final product.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating path, and you can do it so many different ways. It's not figured out. There isn't one way to do it at all. If anything, we've seen in the last couple of decades, especially, the explosion of concepts of ideas. There's more about food, more about drink than there ever has been before.
Yep.
I mean, archaeologists 500 years from now are going to go, what happened? All the different types of foods and things that are created. tremendous.
what's happening is that people see, they see other people out there and they go, well, I want to be able to do that someday, or I want to be there. How do I get to that path? And then you take your own path to where you want to go. And that's where food goes. That's where wine goes. It's like, you can see someone doing something and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. You try it. You're like, oh, that's pretty good. How do I make it better? How do I change it? How do I make it me? How do I do it the way I want it to be? And that's what I do with food. Like I said, I see things on social media all the time and I'm like, that's pretty cool. How do I do that in a real life?
Panini machine. In
a real life concept, how do you do that? Because a lot of the people have ideas on social media and video out in the world that they spend 8 hours to make a video that's 30 seconds long, and how do you make that become reality for you to do in real life? Because it's not. There's a lot of people out in the world who their whole job is to make cool videos on the internet. They're not making food and
they're influencing in a different way.
Right. Yep. So yes, food, social media is a great avenue for me because it shows what's out there and what ideas are already out on the table. But I just take what I know and then, there could be something cool out there. Okay, cool. Thank you. And you just add it to your knowledge. And you go from there.
It's inspiration. It's not like you see that and you're gonna copy.
It's not a cookbook formula.
No,
it's just
no
inspiration.
chance. Yeah, it's all it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's ideas, concepts.
Yep.
All right, we got one more thing, don't we?
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the last thing we got here is our new homemade hand-tossed pizza that for the summer we're doing a caprese because it's tomato season. Yeah. So why not highlight the tomato while we're in the season?
That looks so good.
So this is basil pesto, fresh mozzarella, fresh tomatoes, balsamic reduction on hand-tossed pizza dough.
Hand-tossed pizza
And
dough.
I gotta tell you nailed the dough. I don't know how many iterations you went through to get this right, but
4 or 5.
that's it?
Yeah. Well, I started with all-purpose flour because that's how I've always made it in the past. And then just talking and researching on pizza dough and going from all-purpose flour, then bread flour, and now I'm on double zero flour, which is made for making pizzas.
Double zero flour.
Yep. So all of the really high-end pizza places use double zero because it just gives you that bite that you want in a pizza. It gives you that. There's an elasticity or a bite to the pizza that you don't get out of.
Textural, because that's what it's about. It's that texture when you bite through the crust.
Yes.
It's not a bagel. It's not a piece of bread. It's not a waffle. It's pizza dough.
Right. Yep. So when you do the different flours, the different flours, when you put them, you combine them in water and you make pizza dough, it gives you a different kind of dough every time. So double zero is built for pizza. It's
I wonder what that double zero means. If it's a super fine grind, certain gluten.
It's I bet it has to do with the gluten in it. It has to do with the be able. Yeah. Yep.
Gary said he was here on Saturday. He says, thanks, Ken, for the extra tasting on Saturday with Gary and Paula. And they had this. Oh, it was delightful.
Good.
Yeah, this is. Oh,
It's so fun too with springtime happening now with the deck opening up and people sitting outside and the weather warming up to make that all happen. It makes it such a festive place. Open air.
Yeah.
Opening up the windows, letting the air flow through.
Springtime is just such a happy time of year. People are just so optimistic about, those first warm days. Everyone's just so thrilled and it's really
As
great.
we've gone through winter.
Yeah, we made it. We made it through another winter.
That's why it makes places like this, Scandinavian countries, some of the finest places to live because of the seasonality. A lot of people think, I want to be in the tropics. It's perfect weather all the time. And the problem is you acclimate to that perfect weather and that's just the norm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the dynamic of going from the seasons at higher latitudes that actually make it a more engaging place to live. And it doesn't seem that way when you're dealing with yet another really
Because
cold
there is
day
still
or a really hot, sweaty day or whatever it is. but it's the dynamics of the season that are really invigorating and
Yeah, because it's
Wonderful.
true. Seasonal depression is sort of a thing after a long winter.
For sure.
It can wear on you, but then it makes those spring days that much
just
more
glorious,
wonderful.
just like on Sunday, just
Higher highs and lower lows, maybe.
Yeah.
But
that's what it is. It's a
you
dynamic
need
range.
that diversity in your life. I don't know. That's the way I always feel when people talk about how nice it is to live out in California where it's 70 and sunny every day all year round. I don't know. I love having those stormy days and
I moved
big
from
weather and
I grew up that
exciting
way.
things.
I never had to
and-
worry about what I put on to go outside. It was always just a t-shirt or something. It was always warm, always nice weather. Maybe it was raining, but rarely.
Yeah, it's just,
That was
it's just boring.
But I love New England. I love the dynamics. I love the weather and the seasonality. Think about trying to grow and making food in season in California. Well, let's see. Oh, we can get anything we want anytime.
Talking about doing seasonal menus and things, it does get hard in New England because when you hit the winter, nothing grows here. It's hard. It's about preserving.
People have done this. It's all
Right.
preserving. So you get
It's all
preserved food. You got
Yeah.
all these squashes and things that hold over. You got apples that hold over
Yep.
and ripen up.
Mhm.
Various fruit,
Yeah.
veggies, soups, stews,
Mhm.
and that's when you want to eat those because it's
Right.
getting cold
This
out.
is cold.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lynn asks, do you have the same tires on your bike all year, Ken? I assume you just put the bike away for winter, right?
The what?
Lynn was asking if you have the same tires on your bike all year.
No,
You
I
mostly
switched.
usually-
I have metal studded tires for the fat tire bike for the winter. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, imagine.
I had these knobby tires, and I thought, it's okay. I can ride in the snow, and I could ride in the snow. But when the ice got into the dirt road, and then there's a little bit of snow on top of that, knobby tires, rubber tires, it just slides right out. So I came down hard a couple times and bought steel studded tires that I swap on for the winter time.
Oh, I guess you're asking also too. Yeah, in California though, I suppose you don't have to ever change your tires.
Oh, not California, no.
I
No,
guess
you
that
just jump
would
on
be
your
nice,
bike and
but-
go riding all the time.
Christine agrees. Yeah, you enjoy the good weather more living in New England. That's definitely true. And yeah, I think it's good to force yourself to pay attention to the seasonality. It makes you get more creative sometimes.
I love it. I mean, maybe it's my parents thought it was because I was actually born in Massachusetts, but I was raised in California. But then we came back when I was 10 years old. I was in 5th grade or something. My dad was doing a sabbatical at MIT, so we came and I lived in Needham, Massachusetts for a year, and I loved it. You could run through people's backyards because there were no fences. In Southern California, everything is fenced up. And that's
There
it.
are a lot more walls.
You
Yeah.
have a lot of walls out there, a lot of fences.
Mhm.
And in New England, it's open. And as a 10-year-old kid, that's just fun.
Yeah.
And then there's snow.
Right.
And snowboards and snowballs and all that good stuff.
Getting to do different things, especially I feel like kids, especially maybe you get more distracted. Like you don't want to just be throwing snowballs all year round.
It is
Throw
a
snowballs in winter
challenge
and
from like
tennis balls in
like
summer.
clothing standpoint. Having raised
do
a
have
couple
to-
of kids
yeah, that's
here
true.
in this seasonality, you end up, with boots and shoes and rain gear and snow gear and hats and gloves and they're always growing faster and faster.
Yep.
So you're always swapping out and
Yep.
I remember we used to have it was like an event every spring and fall. We would go out to the barn or the attic where we had this giant dresser out there that we would store the off-season clothes.
Right.
And it was fun, you'd get this big pile of new clothes and you'd try on stuff from last year and no, I don't fit in that anymore. Sometimes that was sad, but it also meant, oh, now I get to wear this dress passed down from my sister. Finally, I'm big enough to wear that one. And we stopped doing that probably when I was in middle school or high school, I think, because then I was too cool to wear my sister's hand-me-downs, right? So, and I think
Right, you gotta get
I wore the
latest
same things
fashion.
all year round and, just wore a coat. But I remember wearing, like tiny little ballet flats to get, from house to the car and ignoring the fact that it was snowing and
Right.
too cool for that type of thing. But now again, I'm back to
this is
I
good.
have
We're
winter things and
wandering
summer
into New
things.
England weather. I guess the seasonality of the summer.
Yeah.
menu. So
Right.
it's still on topic a little
Yeah.
bit here.
Well, it is because the way we're pushing and the way we're going to go farm to table as possible is that we're going to be doing seasonal menus that go based on season. So it's about figuring out what works in each season. So obviously tomatoes are gone in 3 months or 4 months because of the fact that
corn's coming on.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about going to each season and each, initially I was wanted to do monthly menus, and it was crazy, but it was a cool idea because it kept things fresh and it kept things different. But seasonally makes more sense because we are in New England, and trying to do things monthly was not going to be easy.
I didn't remember seeing a mud season menu.
Yeah, we kind of bridged from
Did you go
winter to summer.
from spring to summer, just skip the whole mud season part. You must not live on a dirt road.
No.
But I don't know. I suppose probably a lot of New Englanders would agree. As much as we love these different seasons, March is kind of terrible.
It is, but maple sap is running.
That's true. Yeah, there's always something.
In those days that are like 30 degrees, it feels like it's summertime.
That's true. That's the optimism
Right.
comes in. That's true.
That's awesome. Well, good. How are we doing on time?
We still have 9 minutes.
Oh, excellent. All right.
Maybe it's easier. We polish through food faster than
I
we
know,
go through
we
when we
do.
have 6 wines to try. I think we're all probably just hungry. I've been looking forward to this.
I know I was hungry. I was looking forward to having this with you. It was good. So when you are putting stuff together downstairs and dealing with farm to table, how do you work with the supply chain? So you're going to go to Picnic Rock and you need 20 tomatoes. Yet Picnic Rock may not have 20 tomatoes that day.
What I did
can you deal with
to combat that was I talked to the purveyor, the farms last September to say, hey, this is what I think I'm going to be using. These are the things I'm going to be using. I was still pretty new then, but I had gone through the reports and seen where the ups and downs were of the season and figuring things out and saying, all right, this is what I'm going to need through the whole year. Some weeks are going to be higher, some weeks are going to be lower. And, Ward, is that his name?
Yep.
I always forget.
Yep.
Wardbird is, he's, I could go there at any time. He's like, come on by, come see how we're growing things, see everything. He's a great guy. So it's like, he, when I told him what I needed, he goes, if you're ever higher than this, we're good. We got you. He loves Hermit Woods. He's about what we do. So, one of my first weeks here, I went down to Picnic Rock to go get, produce. And he was like, oh, we haven't met yet. Nice to meet you. Like, what's your plans? What's the next steps? What are we doing? So
And it's great for the farmer because the farmer needs to know how much to plant. They are in a challenging thing too because they're investing all of their effort, all of their money in the farm, dependent upon the weather and pollinators and everything else. But at the end of the day, they need to sell what they grow. And if they don't, it just rots in the field because they don't know how to turn it into wine or something.
Yeah.
But they need to figure out a mechanism for that. And Ward has come to me at one point and said, hey, I got a whole bunch of this stuff. Can you make wine out of it? Because, you end up with different things.
Yeah.
But that's great to get out ahead of it that way.
Yeah.
And having that local stability is really key because it helps everybody. It helps him, it helps us, it helps all of our customers that come in here. It's good.
Yeah.
It's nice having those sort of good mutual relationships with folks that, like I'm sure they up at Picnic Rock send people down here and we send people up to there. And same thing was happening with Beans and Greens when we did the show there.
Right.
We could, we had some customers that had already been there, but several others hadn't, but know that, oh, well, next time I'm up in Meredith, I'll go check that out. Like, such a cool place. And
some of the
nice
stuff I can't get locally, like glass bottles or foil capsules for winemaking. And so I'm dependent on a much larger supply chain that right now is kind of crazy. With distribution, with trucking, with everything, it's very difficult. Dealing with local farms, I think, is an important lesson for everybody because then everybody's built with everybody else that's right there. You're not dependent on a whole bunch of people that really don't care in between in the whole supply chain.
I always find it's certainly in some ways it can be more, definitely it's more work when we go to individual suppliers and all the little small companies, you have to send an email to this person and call this person, and this person's, a very small company and they don't necessarily check their email. So you might have to call them and actually talk in person, or versus, going through a distributor where you can say, yep, I want this, and this, and it covers a whole bunch of your bases. And we need that for some of our suppliers for sure. But I feel better, and you have such a great personal relationship with some of the smaller suppliers. If I don't order Winnipesaukee chocolates for a couple of months, we'll get a call from Sally. She's like, just checking in on you guys. How are you doing? And almost every single time she calls, it's been at the back of my head, like, oh, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do that. And she'll call and remind me. I'll be like, yes, actually, I do need that. And so, they care about us in the same way that we are caring for them. And it goes really well.
Yeah.
Like those sorts of relationships that we have are great.
The local and the smaller purveyors and the smaller companies that we use, we're supporting them as much as they're supporting us. Just like when we did the local vendor showcase.
Yes, exactly.
They all came out because they support what we do and we support what they do. So it's
That's true. Yeah, Ward was there for that. If anyone joined us for that vendor showcase, Ward was here for that, and Sally was here for Winnie Chocolates. And yeah, those are cool events. We should do more of those.
We'll be
I guess
working more with
it's
those
a good
chocolates for desserts.
That's true. Yeah.
Dessert creation.
We had a lot of fun that day coming up with some different pairings. We almost always use just the plain dark chocolate or one of the really simple ones. But we do have that unique pairing of the passion popper with the little Squam Lake, which is the curry in it. Yeah. And Sally and Jonathan that day were having a lot of fun trying some different wines with different chocolates that we hadn't come up with pairings for yet. So that was a lot of fun.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. Those are traditions are great.
Great.
I think we're winding down.
Bob went off the road.
He did. He was on for a bit listening in. I think people could hear him, but we couldn't. So I think he listened in, but he had to peace out. They were driving through Georgia somewhere.
He wouldn't go off the road unless he meant to go off the road.
Yeah. He's on the road in Georgia. Looking forward to coming back in a little over a week. So I guess, are we on our own next week too?
I think so.
We are.
So we could plan this way ahead. What do you want to do, Merike?
What do you want to do next week?
Yeah,
hey, audience, what should we talk about next week? It'll probably
there
be
you go. That's good.
At least me and Ken. I don't know if Chuck will be back. Maybe we can. Travis works Mondays now, so we can drag him up here.
Chuck's coming back Saturday.
Okay, so Chuck might be here.
Yeah.
Any suggestions
Bob's
from the
not
audience?
here, we could probably have a Facebook Live about gin. Oh no, I didn't say that out loud. Bob, don't worry. I know you're not listening.
We'll see it.
With Chuck back, that would fit right in there.
Maybe we could.
No, we can come up with something.
We have a brainstorming list somewhere. Priscilla says
I have 2 new blends that I just created down in the basement.
Blends are always good.
So
Priscilla says we could come and do a pairing tasting with guys. We always love Priscilla. She says we could come.
That'd be great. Anytime the live audience is a great situation. If you guys ever want to come in here during this time, the doors will be open for you. We'll sample together and get you on the screen, get you on this side of the camera instead of on the other side.
Always
no problem there.
Yeah. Well, I think we can probably wind down. If folks do have any suggestions, comment. We'll see it afterward, even if we don't catch it just yet, or send us a message. But we'll have to brainstorm and come up with something. We know now we can do it. We got the whole setup. We could drink wine
out of Boda bags. Because we discovered that Red Scare is fantastic out of a Boda bag.
You're straight out of the bag.
Never would have thought that would be the case, but we were going skiing and we needed something to drink while we were skiing, and so we put Red Scare into a Boda bag that Chuck had brought back from Spain, and it was fantastic. So maybe these wines have different formats. Or not.
Up to something good. All right. So thanks all. Cheers to our
our glasses are empty.
Glasses. There's a splash of cider left. We can each have one more. Here, let's do one more splash each to do our closing cheers.
That's a dribble.
It is a dribble. All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Travis.
Yeah, no problem.
Great food.
Let's see. We need.
So we're still on, but she's sliding.